Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the last race of this season with the Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione today here on Misano. I will just take a little look on the temperatures because they might have changed after the race. No, we still have 31 degrees of air temperature and 40 degrees of track temperature. And this is quite hot. This is Italian weather. This is Italian sun blazing down on the asphalt here. Misano is a track that is not too well known. I think not too many people drive it a lot. And today, at the moment, we have 26 cars on the grid, and we will have the pros, the pro-ams, and the amateurs on the same server. So just as a little introduction in the beginning, the white number plates that you can see on the left side of your screen are the pro drivers, the gray ones are the pro-am drivers, and the red ones are the am drivers. Before the am drivers will go out for the 10 minutes of quali, we will go over the standings for a little bit. We will have half an hour of qualification, 10 minutes for the AMs, 10 minutes for the pro-AMs, and 10 minutes for the pros. Before that, let's take a look at the standings. Here we are over here. Wonderful. So there's still some... sorry, I think my microphone clipped for a little bit there. There's still some open gaps. We still have Ivanov in front of Davy Hill in P1 with 12 points of a gap. I think this might be fixed depending on where they finish, but I will try to update you a little bit about changes in the overall standing, but I'm afraid that I will not be able to do all the calculations at the same time. In P3 we still have Nico Weltmann. In P4 we have Andrea Adone. In P5 Horacio Messina. In P6 Amir Kasetarash. In P7 Strahinja Soranovic. In P8 Kenneth Reyes. In P9 Adam Modan with the same amount of points as Andrei Oreshkin. And Andrei Oreshkin is on the server today, and also Modan. I think I saw him already, but this is something I will check it now because it actually is quite important. No, at the moment I don't see him on the server. So in that case, there's already clear decision that Oreshkin will jump ahead, I think. Then we have Barry Gibbons in P11, Ben Milden in P12. And then the rest, there's Tomasz Knopek, who I haven't seen today as well. And then I think the last one that is still registered is Fabio Galamini. Jake de Jong I have only seen twice this season, I think, for the races that I was commenting at least. And then we will go for the Pro-Ams. Quite a similar situation, even though the midfield standings are a bit tighter with the Pro-Ams, if I saw that correctly when I was looking at them earlier. We have Jeremy Gore in P1, Rosario Pace in P2. We have Luca Grinetti in P3, Sebastian Rübsam in P4. He was actually leading, you can see here, the second, third and fourth race. He had quite good results, but he didn't show up for the last race. So Nika Kopaleshvili, if he's there, will immediately take that position, I think. Peter Davidson in P8, Jason Janssens in P7, Simon Turner in P8, João Pedro Sodre in P9, in P10 Shubhamoy Biswas with 1 point of a difference to Simon Bragg. Then we have in P12 Dennis Kimetto, in P13 Justin Posorski, and then there's Tom Ferrier and Aguedo Martinez in the last positions. For the AM drivers, we have Capi Made in P1 and Marco Pizzuti in P2, still with 3 points of a gap, so that might be an interesting battle to watch still in the Pro-Ams. Who's gonna win the lead? Dries Malino in P3, Federico Amodeo in P4, Alexander Peredelskik, I practiced that name, in P5, Quentin Robert in P6, Nicolas Papadimitriopoulos in P7, Tom Brunel in P8, Jaden Eckering in P9, Rafael Polkowski in P10, John Gilchrist in P11. And there was one more close gap, yeah, exactly, between Cole and Bonucci. There's only 1 point of a gap, and also Leroy might be still changing the position. These are the very tight gaps. Generally, I think when I saw that correctly, P1 until P4 or P3 get 6 points per position, and then afterwards it's getting less and less. As I said, I will try to update you as we go along. So now let's switch back to the qualifying of the AMs. I will leave this page open so I can reference the points a little bit here. This is something you cannot see, but on my side screen I have them open, or at least just one click away. So guys, if anyone is in the chat and is able to write or happy to write, feel free to write something in the chat so I can see that this is also working. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment and I will try to answer them as good as I can. For Misano in general, I don't know the track very well, I need to admit this, and I was driving a few laps before starting the stream here. I drove 20 laps, and the lap times, I don't even want to talk about them. They were not too good. It is a very, how to say, a very undistinct track in a way. All the corners look very similar, and it was a bit tough for me to orient. And it's also a track that is not driven too often, if I see that correctly. Hello, Nico. You're watching the AM qualifying through watching the stream. Good to see you here as well. So yeah, a track that is not driven very often. A track located in Italy. I have some notes here about it. Wonderful, yes. The first races were happening on this circuit in 1972. And the original name of the circuit was Autodromo di Santa Monica. It was built to promote the motorsport tourism on the Adriatic coast, and the initial layout was 3.48 kilometers long, and it was running anti-clockwise. So now nowadays we are running clockwise, but that change was just made in, let me see, where's the number? Ah yeah, 2006. The direction of the traffic was reversed to run clockwise. So this is something quite unusual. Lamborghini is on track with Federico Amodeo, who's currently in P1 with a 1 minute 34.59. Amodeo in the overall standing, I can just take a little look here, is in P4. So let's see what the qualifying brings. There's only 2 minutes and 25 seconds left for the AMs to set a lap. Behind Amadeo at the moment we have Capi made with a gap of only 400th. And behind him in P3 we have Pizzuti at the moment. For the balance of performance, the car that is most punished on this track is the Mercedes AMG with 22 kilos, followed by the BMW with 13 kilos of ballast added. So that only concerns Andrei Oreshkin of the pros. And then we can see in the amateur class there's a lot of drivers driving the Ferrari, and my printout is very, very small. Yes, the Ferrari has -2 kilos of ballast removed, so 2 kilos removed. So the qualifying session for the amateurs is up in 30 seconds. Let's see how many people still manage to cross the line. If I see that correctly, there's only 3 more valid laps. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can take a look at Tom Brunel, who is currently running in P10 with a 1 minute 37.3, but has a possible improvement of 4 tenths on the clock at the moment. And that would indeed put him into P7, I think. But there's still a few corners to go. On the right side of your screen you can see the Pro-Ams moving out of the pit now. And I think, yeah, Tom is the last car on track. Now heading up for the one of 3 straights on this circuit. To one of the most difficult corners of the track, in my opinion, because it's 3 corners that are getting progressively tighter. Yeah, but I think he's going to gain some positions here. Now coming up on the straight. Oh, yeah, in P7. So I think Joao Pedro Sodre will be the first one to start a flying lap. Not too happy with the camera perspective, to be honest. Something is a bit off with this track, but also it's difficult. If you don't know the track very well, it's also difficult to discern in which corner they are at the moment. Because as I mentioned earlier, the corners all kind of look the same. Apparently one of the main bonuses for this track is that from the grandstands or from the audiences it's very well observable and you can actually follow the race quite well. Because I mentioned before that the track was called Autodromo di Santa Monica before. In 2012, they renamed it to the current name. Sorry, to the current name Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli, because in 2011 a very famous Italian MotoGP rider, Marco Simoncelli, he died at Sepang, and he was from a village that is very close to this track, so they decided to change the name in his honor. So that is the first valid lap for Sodre, 1 minute 34.8. So now that puts him into provisional P5 in the middle of the Pro-Ams. Generally, what I have observed from these last races is that not all the drivers are very strictly categorized. There's always, especially in the beginning of the race, you can see that, you know, in theory, all the AM drivers should be at the bottom of the grid or in the back of the grid, and all the pros should be in the front. But obviously, this classification is not rigid and unchangeable, and people progress also. Oh, we're going to take a look at Sodre again, because you almost got a full second on the clock entering the straight now. And there he is in P1. But also I see improvements with Davidson, almost half a second. Rosario Pace also crossing the line now and jumping into P2. So I'm just checking because I don't see... no, Jeremy Gore currently in P7, who is the leader of the Pro-Ams. Thank you, Notum. Yeah, with Gora, I think what we've just seen is that he lost the rear of the car a little bit in that exit there. And that cost him at least a 10th. So it is important for the Pro-Ams to move as much as possible in front of the AM drivers, because of course when there's traffic in the way, they are on a completely different scoring. So regardless of where they are on the grid, completely, it is important that they are where they are relative to their other Pro-Am drivers. Now something interesting, Sodre and Pace just both have the purple lap, with Sodre with a 1 minute 34.105, and the same for Rosario Pace. You can see on the left side also P2 has 0 gap. I don't know who are the two PRT drivers that are together here. Yeah, it's Jeremy Gore in front. No, was it? There's Rosario Pace, and yeah, it is. I know it's Luca Grinetti behind them. A very nice picture. I think in total there should be 3 of the PRT drivers from Italy. There's Rosario Pace, there's Luca Grinetti. Yeah, and also Bonucci. So it looks like Pace just improved his lap and is in P1 now. And in 1.2 minutes the pro drivers will head out. So at the moment in general we have 6 Pro-Am drivers on track, and we have 7 pro drivers on track with, how many are these? 5, 10, 14 AM drivers. Hi Fabio. Yeah, that is going to be very interesting. He is in P2 and he has a gap of, well, actually he has a gap of 23 points, so it is not too likely that he is going to win the league, but P2 is highly possible. So, yeah, that was the last lap of Davidson. And there's still the 104 car out on track. Let me see who that is. Ah yeah, Pace. So now we have the pros heading out. As I said, the closest battle with exactly the same points is between Adone here, also for PRT, and where is he? And Andrei Oreshkin, the only BMW that we have on track. And how the name of his racing team says, Eating Curbs Racing, is a quite fitting name for the BMW. I also guess that is one of the reasons why the BMW has 13 kilos added on the BOP. I mean, the sausage curbs that you can see on the apexes in some of the corners, they are not as aggressive as they are, for example, on Imola, but they can still unsettle the car, but the BMW just eats them for breakfast. So the first car to cross the start-finish line should be Kenneth Reyes, now coming up to the end or starting straight, however you want to call it. And he did not put in a valid lap yet. So let's see. This is the next Davy Hill. Davy Hill, who's running in P2 of the championship behind Ivanov. Also there the gap is 12 points, so 2 or 3 positions in P1 to P5 would do the job. And yeah, the leader of the league just jumped into P1 with the first valid lap. 1 minute 33.065. You can see on the left side of your screen how the numbers are starting to mix and how the pro drivers are jumping in front. There are some very crucial straights and very crucial corners on the circuit that you really need to hit well in order to exit on the long straights. Hi Rosario. All the drivers coming into the chat here. I know, let's see, Davy Hill not with an improvement on this lap. We have Adone behind him with 2/10. That should put him into E4 at least. And he jumped into P2. No, then Nico Weltman immediately jumped into P2 in front of Adone. So we have 4 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock for this qualifying. Now, one question that I asked myself, didn't I mention before? I was wrong before. I said Modan and Oreshkin have the same numbers, but it's Oreshkin and Barry Gibbons that have the same numbers. But as there's the same score, but as there's only Oreshkin on the server, that means that he will move up. Yeah. So Kenneth race is not... Yeah, I was just wondering that he was in the pits already, because there's still 3 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. He could definitely go for another lap. So Adone in P2 again. Nico Weltman calls it a day. It always depends on how quick you are clicking through the setup to just jump out on track again. But yeah, no, I think he called it a day. I don't want to say Davy Hill only in P5. But I was expecting him to be a bit quicker today, to be completely honest. He is very quick in general, but as he's P2 in the overall standing. The result in the qualifying could already decide the final result. And also Misano calls it a day. Take a look at Kenneth race. Like how do you call this qualifying session where you only have one chance? I think there's a special name for it, but I don't really remember. One try qualifying, something like this. Damn it. Also, this hairpin here is a bit tricky because there's a little kink to the right before then you go into the hairpin, and it's if you miss the braking zone there, you go out, and the outside of the track, especially in the important corners on this track, are slated to the outside, so you have two wheels on the outside and the car just wants to go off track like crazy. Yeah, but this could be... I don't think it is going to be enough for a race. There's 1/10 of improvement at the moment, 2/10. But it's not really going to change the position. He's still going to be starting in P14. Yeah. Okay, he changed it. It was one position that he managed to get. But he also managed to cross the line on time. So I think he can put in... Yeah, he can put in another lap. There's also Ivanov still on track. But yeah, I think he noticed... No, he's just... Yeah, he just returned to pit. I think he noticed that there was no one threatening his lap time anymore. So he just decided... Yeah, one-shot qualifying. Thank you, Jim. Something like this. So also no improvement for Reshkin. Kenneth race. Last chance. I think it would be super useful for a race to jump in front of into P9 or something like this, just to, let's say, get rid of the Pro-Am and the AM's traffic. Yeah, but that was not an improvement. 27 cars now on the grid, so we had Eckering join us. You can actually see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 PRT racing cars on the grid. Someone is glitching in and out of the starting position. Yeah, I think now we're set. So we're going to take a look at the standings. I have just spontaneously decided to do it a little bit different than usually, because the scoring is different in the classes. I'm just going to go through the classes at once. We have in P1 for the pros, Grigory Ivanov. In P2 we have Adona. In wonderful. In P3, starting on the outside line, we have Veltman. And then in P4 for the pros we have Davy Hill. In P5 we have Horacio Messina, and in P6 we have Oreshkin, the only BMW on track. And then we have Kenneth Reyes in P7 of the Pro-Ams. For the pros, For the Pro-Ams we have Rosario Pache starting in P1, we have João Pedro Sodre starting in P2, then we have Jeremy Gore in P3, Peter Davidson in P4, Luca Grinetti in P5, and Simon Bragg in P6. For the amateurs, we have Amadeo. Now I can click, wonderful. We have Amadeo in P1, we have Bonucci in P2, we have Capimate behind in P3, and Marco Pizzuti in P4, Gabriele Vergani in P5, Cortini in P6, Tom Brunel in P7, Alan Palmer in P8, Johnny Gilchrist in P9. In P10 we have Marco Baiocco. In P10 we have Massimo Capelli, Gilbert Martin. In P11 then Greg Lever in P12 and Jaden Eckering in P13. Well, I thought it was a good idea to do it by classes, but then I have to remember who is who and in what position. Might be that I skipped a number in between. I'm sorry for that. So as the drivers are heading out on track, we will take a little chance to thank the sponsors of Formula Racing League. And we would like to thank SWIT for hosting the servers, Simnet Racing for sponsoring the Formula Racing League GT3 Endurance season, and Cube Controls for sponsoring the Formula Racing League LMU series. Now with the high temperatures, I don't think the drivers will have a lot of problems to heat up the tires, but obviously it will degrade them further. And quicker. We are going to have a 1.5 hour of race time. On the left side of your screen you can also see this little number 1 beside the number plate that indicates that the driver still has to do a pit stop, and that will turn green as soon as the drivers did their pit stops. So of course we are going to take a look at the at P1 until P3. Who is that starting from the? Simon Bragg is starting from the pits, I see. So of course we are going to take a look at the P1 until P3 at the Pro-Ams, but also P9 until P12, the amateurs. The starting grid is a tight group together as the drivers now come up to the starting line, forming up on their grid positions. Even of the red Ferrari on the right side, and there is the green flag, and the drivers are heading out on the track for the first corner. We're going to take a look. 3 wide in the back, there's Oreshkin in the middle. No crashes that I can see so far. There's one driver massively falling back. Them massively, but I think it's Rosario Pace getting taken over by Davy Hill in the first corners. Now on the inside line here, and Sodre behind him. Messina a bit on the, forced to be on the outside line there, also losing positions. Too wide in the back. Who's that? That must be Kenneth Reyes, who already is moving through the grid. Of course he is, because there's no point in fighting him. Let's see if Pizzuti now moves a bit out of the way here. The Formula Racing League Ferrari that you can see in front of Kenneth Reyes, the bit more colorful car behind, who's now on the inside. Yes, and he goes through. Oh, that was very close. Yeah, he made it through. So now there's only Bonucci in front. In the front, Davy Hill managed to pass Rosario Pace in the first corner, sorry. But Sodre is very tight behind Pace. And that didn't look good. Yellow flags from a lot of drivers, but for now it looked like someone disconnected for a second. Okay, nothing to worry about. Vergani losing multiple positions to the back. Yeah, Sodre not really being able to pull away from Messina, but Messina is under pressure by Oreshkin, the red BMW that you can see in the back there. Going for the end of this second lap. Jeremy Goda also trapped in the middle of the AMs here. Yeah, still very, very close gaps. It makes sense after only two laps now. Eckering, who has started all the way in the back, if I saw that correctly, is already in P15. Now being attacked by Grinetti behind. Ah, wait a second, no. Eckering is behind Amadeo. Amadeo is the Lamborghini that we can see, the blue Lamborghini in front. Pizzuti just got passed by Gore and now goes for the inside line. There was Gore a little bit on the off track there, sliding around with the rear of his Porsche. Now immediately under pressure by Eckering behind him. Maybe let's take a ride with... Who is this? Vergani, no? No, it is Grinetti. Take a little ride there from the passenger perspective, so you can actually see how tight these cars are getting in some places. Yeah, one of these very important corners to carry a lot of speed, but we are going to jump one car ahead into Eckering's car to see what's happening there. Now here also after the hairpin, very important to carry a lot of speed onto the straight, maybe taking a bit of a wider entry. I think it is the fastest section of the whole track. In front you can see Gore again beside... Boy. There was some maneuvering necessary to not have a collision there. Gore now through again. Eckering having to pull back on the outside line because Amadeo was there. Oh. Amadeo getting very slow there in these corners. Wait, and a mistake, and Eckering is through. Eckering now in P4 of the M drivers. So let's again jump one more car ahead to see Pizzuti behind Gore. Gore just overtook him. But I think there has been a change of position already for the second time now. Yeah, Pizzuti also flashing the light because he thinks that he can go quicker. Trying to put some pressure maybe also on Gore, but... Yeah, Amadeo with a crash now. Losing a lot of time, but I will not jump there now. Okay, for now this looks soft, so we're gonna take a look at what happened to Amadeo there. Maybe 30 seconds should be enough, yeah. A little touch from the back. And then he turned. Yeah, the track cuts are very, very difficult also to keep because you have to go very, very far. It feels already off track, but it actually isn't, to gain most momentum. So yeah, you're right, Jim. There's a high chance that we will see some drive-throughs. Don't actually know how long the drive-through time is here. Now Pizzuti again trying to overtake Gore. Yeah, both of them very, very similar lap times, but entirely different classes. Pizzuti now in P3. And now also Eckering went through. At least it looks like that. I'm gonna take a look at what these two are up here. Eckering on the inside line, but Gore with a better exit, maybe now on the straight. That's what I was saying earlier. He was taking a bit of a wider line to then generate more speed on the straight. Yeah. Smart move there. But let's jump to P3. Nico Weltmann behind Adam Adone, who has constantly been closing the gap there for the last 2 laps. Nicely tucked into the slipstream. Adona for defensive line. Nicanor maybe going for the switch back, trying to get as much grip as possible on the exit there, but Adona manages to maintain the position. And again, taking a bit more force. But possibly this is not going to be enough. Although this apex here is very tempting to go for, but you have to find the way to brake on the outside line. And Adona a little bit parking it on the apex there. Sorry, we just jumped back to Kenneth Reyes, overtaking Bonucci, and now the four amateur drivers are separated. From P10 to P13 is the whole class of them now, and Kenneth Reyes managed to fight his way through them. I think if I remember correctly, he started in P15 and now at least cleared the traffic and can hopefully now make some good time. And we're gonna go back to Nico Veldman in the slipstream duel that's happening here. No, actually this lap he was not close enough to get enough slipstream. But still manages to get very, very close in turn 14. I think the one that is profiting the most from this little battle between P2 and P3 at the moment is Ivanov in P1, because the gap is getting bigger and bigger to the front. Now it's almost 6 seconds. I think I will wait another 15 minutes before I start doing the first calculations, because I just thought about already calculating the standings a little bit, because basically Adona, Nico Veldman and Davy Hill are fighting for the position. Yes, we can jump to the AMs. We can do that indeed. Thank you for pointing that out. So in front, the car that has the bit of a bigger gap, the red car, is Bonucci. Behind him, Capimate and Pizzuti. No, this is not, sorry. Capimate is the white car in the back, and Bonucci is in the front. The P3 of the AM still has a 5-second gap. no problem whatsoever. Smiley. Yeah, Bonucci a little bit being held up by Kenneth Reyes there, and Capimate immediately uses the chance to go through. We're gonna go and jump to Bonucci now. So Capimate now in the lead of the AMs. Oh, that was very close. So both of the Pro-Ams trying to overtake Kenneth Reyes there, but Kenneth Reyes manages to maintain the inside line. And Bonucci went a little bit off track there. Looks like safety reasons, but hopefully he didn't get a cut for it. So now the Capimate in the lead for the AMs, and behind him Bonucci with 7/10. Just jumping quickly to Grinetti, trying to pass Eckering and make some time. Currently running in P4 for the Pro-Ams. I don't know what happened here, but Kenneth Reyes passed Bonucci again. I think he's not too happy of having the AM drivers on the server, because that's a lot of traffic that he's fighting there. And it's just making everybody lose time in the meantime, but there's also no point if there's no significant pace difference to then just, you know, wait behind someone. Now looking at the statistics at the moment, Ivanov is 6/10 quicker than Adone in P2. And that's why the gap is getting bigger and bigger. Let's see how the consistency keeps going and how the tires deal with these temperatures. And the track, possibly. So we're with Grinetti, P4 of the Pro-Am drivers. Still working with Eckering to sort out their position, and actually hunting down Jeremy Gore, who is only one car ahead of him. So the Porsche, the white-black Porsche that you can see in front there, Jeremy Gore, who is in a direct battle with the car that we are watching right now. But there's Eckering in between. Just had a bit of a slide there. Yeah, Ekering seems a bit unstable on the rear. There was already the second time that I see him sliding, but maybe Grinetti just showed himself in the mirror and distracted him for just a second. As I said in the beginning of this of the stream, it's a track that not a lot of people know, or that is not driven so much in general. So it's really up to the practice that the drivers had since the race last week to get some proper training done. Sorry for that sudden jump. I should have gone to the helicopter perspective before, but this happens if you just click on the name without thinking that you're also doing the stream at the moment. So I decided to jump to Veltman again, and that is the battle for P2. And that McLaren is really screaming into my ear. I hope it is not for you, because I found a way to adjust the volume on the fly. So I think Adona had a bit of a break for now 2 laps. 2 laps that he didn't have Veltman right behind him putting pressure. Also a very difficult corner combination after coming up with a lot of speed from the main straight and to get into this little, almost chicane that are the first 2 corners of the track. Oh, that was a little ambitious on the brakes there from Veltman. Oh, Adona has a bit of air to breathe again. And he got Veltman out of the slipstream. I don't know what happened to Marco Baiocco, but he is all the way in the back of the grid, and I don't know how he got there, honestly. There has been some... I don't know if it was a crash, but I don't think he started all the way in the back. Wait. Ekering just lost the position, or is still fighting with Grinetti. Grinetti managed to move through. Now after 25 minutes, almost 25 minutes of driving, the fatigue already... Oh, just as I say it, the fatigue already starts to set in. So that was Ekering with a bit of a slide there. So now comes the time where the focus needs to be rock solid, and you need to really hit the same braking points every round, be consistent, and bring this home in like 1 hour and 5 minutes with 1 pit stop in between. Now we're gonna take a look at Capelli and Brunel. Capelli currently running in, I have to count this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in P9 and Brunel in P8. Now Brunel with a very wide line there. Capelli behind. opting for the outside line. Both of them very sportsmanlike, letting Simon Bragg pass so he can continue to hunt down Davidson. And now they continue the fight. Oh, I was very close, Capelli, yeah, almost ramming the back of Brunel's car. One of two Lexus. Do you say Lexi? Plural of Lexus, Lexi? Could imagine that. There was that already a lapped one? Yeah, that was Martin, the Porsche that we just saw there, Gilbert Martin, who also did his pit stop already. So let's take a look at this tighter group with Grinetti, Gore and Pizzuti. Grinetti should be P3, yes. So this is the battle for P2 in the Pro-Ams. The Formula Racing League livery Ferrari in front is Pizzuti, the Porsche is... and there's the first drive-through. Jim, you called it. First drive-through for Kenneth Ray's... Oh yeah, the green and black Ford that we can see now. That is Grinetti and Gore in front. These two are fighting for P2 in the Pro-Ams. Moving to the inside line now, Grinetti. Also together too wide into the braking zone. And that looked like Gore's car was a little bit unstable, or he was just trying to make sure that there's no contact. I don't know. Yeah, Jim, you called it. You called it. Bergani just went into the pits. Okay, no crash there. Kenneth Reyes, even though he just got the drive-through, still overtakes Capimate, which puts Bonucci into the reach of P1 in a way. Bonucci, the green car that you can see on the top of your screen, is P2 of the Ams. Oh, Capimate forcing the inside line there. ambitious, yeah, but it's necessary, and I think he's also a bit angry because he knows that the race has to go into the pits because he has a drive-through. So I'm sure he's a bit confused, and it's like, hey man, you have to go to the pits now anyway, so why are you troubling me here? Now again in front. So now we can actually also find out together how long the drive-through takes. Gilchrist just lost the position to Vergani, but tries to retake it. They find a solution on the straight there. I was a bit worried. This is something I'm observing with the AMs and the Pro AMs as well. The gaps seem to close and open much quicker. But with the Pros, basically the gaps almost stay unchanged lap per lap, because at the moment all the Pros are within 1 second of each other. Yeah, except P8 and P9, Kenneth Race and Oreshkin, they are all driving lap times that are within a second of each other, so that the gaps don't change so quick. Let's jump to Bonucci again. There's just a lot more happening. Yeah, now Race is in the pits for his drive-through. I think the pits are also very, very long. Yeah, Ivanov managed to extend the gap that he had. I think 15 minutes ago it was about 5 seconds, and now it's 13 seconds in the front. And what happened there? Itsuti lost the position to Eckering, so Eckering now in P3. This is what I mean, the conditions and the position changes are a bit more rapid in the AMs than they are in the Pro-AMs. Nico Weltmann now in the pits, trying to go for the undercut. Should be undercut, yeah. If he goes to the pits now and then he comes out in front of Adona and then manages to drive for 55 minutes. That gap also didn't stay for too long between Bonucci and Capi Mait. Pizzuti now also in the pits. Gore also in the pits. So we jump to Tom Brunel behind Capelli. Did I hear that correctly? That sounded a bit like a misshift. Misshift in a sense of shifted into the wrong gear. Or am I just not used to the sound of the Lexus? That can be as well. So let me find out how long the drive-through was for. How long the drive-through was for Kenneth Race. He's still in the pits. It looks like he is standing in the pits. Now he's moving again now, but he was stopped in the pits for 53 seconds. I'm not sure if one can do that to clear a drive-through. That is very confusing. But it seems like he came in twice. And for the second pit stop then he had a standing time of 53 seconds, which is very long. Veltman is already out of the pits. Now the question is, when will Adorno pit? I think that might have been a smart decision by Veltman, because before he was constantly behind Adorno without a lot of space to drive, and now he basically has a free track in front of him, at least until P1 and P2 pit. So that might actually give him some good time. Lever coming into the pits as well, and Tom is behind Capelli again. But yeah, as I said before, the gaps open and close much quicker. So now the gap is bigger again. Yeah, I might actually start to do some calculations, trying to figure things out, trying to figure out positions. So I have this here now, wonderful. So at the moment, Ivanov is undisputed in P1. That is something we can very clearly see. Davy Hill in P3, and then there's Adorno. Yeah, I think with the pros I will wait a bit more. But for Capi Mate and Bonucci, for example, I would like to figure out where they're standing. So Capi Mate is in P1. Let me know, guys, if I'm missing something very important. I can still see the screen here, but I'm also looking at my calculator. Yeah, so there's no bigger change here because Bonucci is like 150 points behind Capimate. So Capimate still also in the overall standing, the P1 with Pizzuti. With Pizzuti and Malino might be interesting. Malino is not on the server. Yeah, also between Amadeo and Pizzuti there is a gap of over 58 points, so I think that is not possible that there's any bigger change. Yeah, let's go back to the race. This is a bit complicated to calculate now. As we see them go 3 wide, difficult to figure out who went where now. Seems like the position went unchanged. Ah no, it was... Those seem to be the first lap cars. Yeah, exactly. That was Davy Hill going through. There we are, yeah. After 1 hour and half an hour. After half an hour and 11 minutes, which is 41 minutes. After 41 minutes, we see the first lap cars coming through. That must be very confusing also for Tom at the moment, yeah, because there's all these... There is all these Fords coming up, but he's only fighting Vergani, who's directly behind him. But then there's also Rosario Pace with the livery. It's Rosario Pace coming up from behind, so he's basically in a little bit of a sandwich. In an Italian Ford sandwich. Hello, hello. Yeah, for Pizzuti, I have to take a look where he is. All this pitting makes a big mess. It makes a big mess, and I don't know who is where. So Pizzuti is here, and Pizzuti already did his pit stop. Okay, there we are. Tom is hunting Capelli, and that is also Capelli in the front. The other Ford you see behind is Vergani. Nico Weltmann passing Amodeo. Nico Weltmann basically still waiting for Adone to pit so he can see. Oi! And we got an SG30. How you go? Stop and go 30, sorry. The German came through for a second. So we have a stop and go penalty for Davidson and a drive through for Gilchrist. Yeah, Kenneth Race called it a day entirely, it looked like. Yeah, he stopped in the pits for 4 minutes 30. Tom again hunting down Pizzuti. And Davy Hill caught up to Adone. Yeah, you're right, Jim. Yeah, most likely speeding in the pits for the stop and go. How you call it in English? It's a stop and go penalty. We just call it Ivanov with a quick yellow flag. Might be connection issue. So Davy Hill now in provisional P2 because in P3 fighting for P2, but we don't know where Adone will be after the pits, where both of them come out, because it can be that the strategy of Weltmann worked. Pitting a bit earlier and now having free traffic. So Ivanov comfortably ahead with 20 seconds of a gap. Then Adone behind, being followed by Davy Hill with a 12 seconds gap behind Davy Hill. The leaders of the Pro-Am, so Rosario Pace. Behind Rosario Pace, P4 of the pro drivers is Messina, then João Pedro Sodre in P6, Andrei Oreshkin in P7, Kapi made in P1 for the AM drivers, Luca Grinetti 2 seconds behind him, followed by Bonucci, P2 of the AM drivers. So Adone is in the pits now. This is interesting, sorry. We remember that I stopped with Bonucci my little grid walk, but I think this is the most interesting thing. I wish I could do a split screen now, because there's Adone in the pits, and then where is Nico Weltmann? Number 29. Yeah, the number 29, we can see him on the right side of your screen, on the top of the track map. A bit annoying that the camera is shaking like this. The TV2 cam is the helicam at the moment. So there is Nico Weltmann, and Adone is moving. Adone is moving, and now Nico Weltmann is passing on the straight. And he's passing right now. No. Yeah, that was Nico Weltmann. And Adone, wow, that was a very good that was a very good strategy call by Nico Weltmann. Adone now 9 seconds behind him, so very, very interesting one. Yes, I was also commenting the Nürburgring race. And now there's Ivanov in the pits. So then basically out of the pro drivers, only Hill is remaining that is in front. And that is also going to be interesting where he ends up after his pit stop. Because as far as I remember, he was still behind Adone when he went into the pits. Maybe now he's making good time on used tires. I don't really believe it, to be honest. A lot of shuffling with the Pro-Ams as well. Tom is currently in P2 before the pit stops. And then it looks like we have yes, of course I noticed that the commentator's favorite Papadimitriopoulos was not in this race. I saw your name again on the standings. So 40 minutes. I'm really today with the numbers. I don't even try to calculate the standings because the numbers don't work today. So we're gonna take a look at what happened to Vergani here. He got a bump. Yeah, he got a little bump there, but I cannot make out the car number, who that was. Vergani now in the pits. Sorry, we were still watching the replay. Bonucci passing Tom. Tom is still on the old tires. Tom Brunel. I keep calling him by the first name. Everybody else I call by the second name, and then suddenly there's Tom. So Nico Veldman in P2. Davy Hill behind him. And where's Adorna? Okay. Adorna now in P4. So the pit stops made a difference there. And he lost P2 to Hill and Veldman. So now there's only Grinetti, who's currently in P2, that has to pit. And Amodeo. But Amodeo was also the leader of the amateurs, if I'm not mistaken, so I don't see any reason why he wouldn't remain there after his pit stops, after doing it later. Yeah, Eckering there close behind Capimate, but it looked like he had to go for a bit of a evasive maneuver to not hit him in the back. Oh, why are we missing the desktop audio? I'm sorry for that. We didn't have any race audio. I don't remember when I was pushing the button, but I hope it wasn't for too long that we didn't have this immersive sound of the cars in the background. Yeah, for Pizzuti it is very important to be in front of Capimate, because that could make the championship for him. There's only a 3 points gap in between both of them. So at the moment, if Pizzuti stays in front of Capimate, then that means that he wins the league. So now we only have Grinetti left, who didn't pit yet. If I see that correctly, I'm gonna click into this little fight here, because for some reason I cannot see, and you can also not see the last position on your screen. Okay. Let's watch this. That is going to be important, and we're gonna take a look at the passenger cam, and I just reduced the audio level a little bit, and I have to remember that I have to put it back up and not press the button again, because otherwise you will not have sound. Wait, what the hell? What the hell was this? There was Eckering just diving past Capimate. I'm gonna take a look at this again. What happened there? I hope this 30 seconds is gonna be enough to see what he did there. That's Eckering. Send it. Very impressive reaction by Capimate there. I don't really think that was a let's say a very beautiful overtake, but that I did not expect that at all. Ay, 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 ay. I'm calling this a dive. I don't know about you guys. You can go back in the stream, but that was quite a dive. Hallelujah. Oh. There is something strange going on with my timing screen. Adona is just passing Davy Hill, but Davy Hill was invisible for a moment, if I saw that right. Davy Hill defending the inside, also quite important here. A little bit forcing off track by Adona there, in my opinion. I'm just a commentator. I'm not gonna judge it. We're gonna go back to Capimate and Eckering. Yes, it was clean, but I think only because Capimate opened up his steering to avoid the collision. It was a dive. You go back in stream and take a look at it. I'm gonna see what Eckering is doing to Pizzuti now. Capimate possibly with a better exit here, going for the outside line into turn 1. The inside line for T2, and he takes back the position for Eckering. No, he doesn't, because Eckering has the chance to remain on the inside line, but doesn't manage to find the grip there. And again, we're gonna go the passenger perspective, because I would say we see this again. That was a team order. I would say that was a team order by Pizzuti to Eckering. Yeah, that wasn't too nice, no, wasn't it? Take a look at that again. Unfortunate, very unfortunate. But I think there might still be some complaints after the race. But I'm not responsible for them. Well. But that has quite some implications for the championship if Pizzuti is in front. Yeah, I mean, things happen, no? But another interesting fight going on here. Rosario Pace behind Sodre. And in this last race, I always have to have the overall standing in front of me. Sodre is in the P9 in the overall standing. And so that does not have championship implications if Pace overtakes Sodre. It all depends a little bit on where Jeremy Gore is. He's in the back in P14, but he is only in P4, so that will not be enough to change any championship standings here. So we have roughly half an hour to go after 37 laps of driving. And this is how you collect off tracks. Sorry. So what I was looking at in the front, Nico Weltmann, after his successful pit stop strategy in P2, Adona managed to pass Davy Hill a few laps back. I don't know if I showed it to you, but Adona now in P3 again, Hill behind. And we are looking at Sodre, Pace and Messina close together here. And that is Pace attacking Sodre. Sodre on the inside line with the better position now on track. The white and blue Ford that you can see in the back is Messina. He's driving in a different class, so he might just let the two guys in front of him fight it out, because he's not under immediate threat by another driver. Take a little look at the relative. Yeah, Bayoko moving out of the way very nicely there. Yeah, Ekering has the chance to get it right now by punting Pizzuti. Guys, drive safely, drive fair. I'm just making a joke. Yeah, we can see Pace increasing the pressure on Sodre again. It seems like in sector, let me take a look. Yeah, Sodre is quicker in sector 2 and in sector 3, at least for the last lap. Yeah, I don't know how happy Messina is to drive behind these two, but it also doesn't really look like he could drive quicker than them, so there's also no point in getting involved there. Okay, Jim, no. I'm sorry, Jim. Did you see this before me, or because there was literally like in the second I read your message in the chat that the drive-through appears. So Eckering with a drive-through now. And that means we will have Capi Made and Pizzuti fighting again. I don't know who is this. Ah, this is Ivanov going through. Ivanov is here. Pizzuti is here. So yeah, when Eckering goes to the pits, Mate will have 2 seconds of a gap to Pizzuti, if I see that correctly. So then the fight for the championship is on again. It was literally in the moment that I read the message that I saw the drive-through there, so good call, I would say. And there's another drive-through for Capelli. There's another drive-through for Capelli. Let's maybe check with the Eckering. Here are the statistics, how long the time in pits is. Yeah, it is very, very long. It is very, very long. Top speed on track, by the way, now that I see it, is 253 kilometers per hour by the Ford of Messina. Yeah, Capi Made rapidly closing the gap to Pizzuti. Last lap was only 1/10 of a improvement on the gap, but we still have 20 minutes on the clock, so guys, by the way, don't forget to like the live stream also to push the algorithm a little bit. Gonna take a look at this traffic here. The same situation. Soder in front, the red and yellow Ferrari behind him, Pace and Messina in the Ford. Pace now also with a drive-through. I just saw his lap becoming invalid. So that settles this situation as well. Oh, Maid managed to catch up to Pizzuti again. Probably the only intense battle that is still raging on. At least that has implications for the overall standing. Both laps also invalid at the moment. Yeah, very smart move here to take a bit of a wider turn, a later apex. Pizzuti almost weaving in a desperate attempt to break the slipstream. Oh. I will take a look at the statistics. No, both of them had roughly the same standing time. I think both of them changed the tires. I also like 1.5 hours on the same set of tires is quite tough. Oh, my heart. That was another close one. I'm also with one corner of my eye, I'm also having a look on Adone and Veltman at the moment. They have a 5-second gap as well. But this is just interesting for the immediate racing. It is not relevant for the championship, if I see that correctly. The fight that we're watching now is much more relevant. If you cut at the end of the long straight, it gives you 2 track cuts. Yeah, Capi still raising the pressure there, sniffing the exhaust of the Ferrari of Pizzuti. Once in a while. It is sector 3 that Mait has the advantage, At least in the last lap, that's where he gained 1/10. Also check the top speed of both of them. Pizzuti also 2 kilometers per hour slower. Ay, 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 ay. It seems to always be the same corner that might kind of loses the braking point, misses the braking point. And then there's a sizable gap for the rest of the sector. For the rest of the lap, I'm sorry. I'm just thinking he's on the fresh tires for 28 minutes now. And Pizzuti is on his tires for 41 minutes. Sorry, am I messing something up? No, I'm not. So that means, in theory, Might should have the better tires. But maybe it's a time to raise the ABS already. I tend to raise the ABS after about 15 minutes. Just one click, but that goes for the McLaren. I'm not sure how it is for other cars. And that's how I do it, because I noticed that the braking distances are getting longer. And we are going to jump. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there were some moments where he defended well, but I'm a bit afraid that Capi is going to miss his braking point at some point and is going to take him out. For now, we are going to take a little look at what is happening here with Hill and Adone fighting for P3. A bit of a threat there in the outside mirror. Adone on the inside line, parking the car on the apex, forcing Hill to slow down. Well, so now let's see if Davy Hill tries to go for the outside or for the inside line. He goes for the switch to the inside line. Adone a bit forced to stay on the outside, but now in the better position to defend. Davy Hill also leaving the space, and Adone directly in the slipstream behind him now. On the outside line we see Adone, on the inside line is Hill. The battle for P3. And he'll manage to make it pass. Let's see in the next laps if he manages to drive away there as well. The gap between Capi and Pizzuti is 1 second, and I think I will use the chance to just get myself a glass of water because I desperately need it. So I am back, and we are going to jump back with Capi. The fight for the championship in the amateur class for the Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione is still raging on. But Pizzuti and Maid both with an invalid lap. And I wonder if Jim is going to call another drive-through in the next minutes. Now that I think about all these drive-through and track cuts, I remember that when I was playing the single-player championships, when I just got Assetto Corsa, I was collecting so many track cuts on this track, and I didn't understand anything that was happening. Yeah, there's Amodeo with a drive-through. Jim, you didn't call it, I called it. What did I want to say? I just saw that the last lap time, or the best lap time I ever set on this track, was a 1 minute 40. So I didn't drive it. I didn't drive it a lot, and I personally also find this track quite. I would say I find it quite featureless and a bit strange. This track. It's definitely my least favorite track, I would say, at the moment. Yeah, Amodeo in P4 was basically right in the position that he's also in for the overall championship. But there's 8 points to... No. Yeah, there's 8 points to Malino, and Malino is not on the server today, so I think that will still put Amodeo in P3. But as we already found out multiple times today, my calculations are not the best. 7 minutes on the clock left in this final race. Of the Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione. Oh, again. Ay. It actually is a pity that I missed this overtake by Pizzuti. Because that must have happened during the pit stops. I'm not too sure about it, but I haven't seen it, and I think it would have been important to see it. But yeah, from the driving time that both of the drivers have, they were pitting about 10 minutes, 15 minutes apart. So that's where it happened, maybe. Even though they had exactly the same time in the pits, but or maybe I wasn't focused on that important fight. Now 5 minutes of racing left. Yeah, Amadeo coming into the pits now. So let's once again maybe go into the onboard here. No, that's the wrong one. This is the right one. As we already found out, Maid with 2 kilometers per hour of higher top speed. So what we see here now is still the battle for overall standing in the championship in the amateur category. 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in the race. Simon Bragg now also with a drive-through. Yeah, a crash or a drive-through would be quite unfortunate for both of them actually. And I think they've been fighting for quite some time, so... True, Amadeo also already going for the drive-through, getting a stop-and-go penalty. It's a tough one. So this should almost be... Yeah, there's one more. After this one, there should be one more lap to go. Let's have to take a look where the leader of the race is. Yeah, Ivanov is just... Yeah, there will be another lap after this. So, ladies and gentlemen, the leader is on the final lap of the race. Oh! And that was almost a murder by Capimate. We are going to jump to Ivanov at some point because he will be the overall winner of the second season of Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione, hosted by Formula Racing League, who are sponsored by SimNet Racing. So the time has officially run out. And it does not look like Mate manages to close the gap again. So we will go for Ivanov who is the overall winner of this season. Congratulations from my side for this driving and for winning this race, for winning races consistently. It is the fourth time that he wins a race. Behind him is Nico Weltmann that will come and cross the start-finish line. Oreshkin and Pacha already crossed the line in P7 and 8. Luca Grinetti also came in. Nico Weltmann, who will finish P3 overall, as far as I understand it. I'm not 100% certain about this result. Now crossing the line as well. Then there is Davy Hill, who also just crossed the line. Andrea Adone, very, very close behind him. Andrea Adone, who started in P2 and now ended up in P4. And the next one who is coming in is Messina. Capimate and Pizzuti also finished the race. Pizzuti taking the overall winner. Pizzuti being the overall winner of the M category. Capimate in P2. João Pedro Sodre, who won this race in the Pro-Am category. Rosario Pace in P2. Here again, side by side or close together. The 3 PRT Fords, but I think there are more. There's also Adone here. But these 3 are still on track. Maybe a little nice picture here. Bonucci, from this perspective, yeah, Bonucci, the winner of the M category. Overall position is not on my list, I think. That was 90 minutes of racing. Once again, thanks to SimGrid Racing for sponsoring the GT3 Endurance Race and Cube Controls for sponsoring the Formula Racing League Le Mans Ultimate Series, and also SWIT for hosting the servers. Hopefully see you soon for the next season of Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione. Thank you all for watching, and see you soon, see you around. Ciao, ciao.